I got a call from the chief of police. I was very worried. I said, Ollie, we've got a real situation here. I need you to come in. We need your help. I said, all right, what's going on? The crown jewels of the Netherlands have been stolen right here in Baltimore. I said, oh my, that sounds serious. Where should I come? I said, why don't you come down? He gave him an address. And it was at one of the big hotels downtown. So Ollie made his way straight there. I got there. There's a whole police, big police presence. And I saw on the way in that there was a big sign for the Crown Jewels of Netherlands. Come and see. Put on by the Netherlands cultural attaché to the United States. And when I got in there, I saw a man in a fancy tuxedo pacing about anxiously, stopping every now and then to say something to the chief of police, and now the mayor was there too. I could also see a couple people in CIA-type outfits nearby, although they didn't seem to be doing much direct interaction. I came up and said, "Hi, I'm Ollie." And the man with the suit said, "Oh, you're the detective. Excellent. Excellent. I asked him to bring in the very best detective, and I guess that's you. I wouldn't have expected an octopus, but hey, whatever. It's 2020. I said, "Yeah, pleasure to meet you too." I said, "Oh, sorry, I am Baron Van Heesen, and I'm the cultural attaché from the Netherlands to the United States. And this is a horrible, horrible embarrassment." I said, "I guess so. So tell me a bit about what's going on here." He said, "Well, you see, we brought the crown jewels of the Netherlands here in the United States to do a tour. It's like a goodwill tour to learn a little bit more about the royal history of the Netherlands. To the people here in the States. Just to drum up more interest in people visiting the Netherlands when things get normal again. It's been a great success. We've been in Atlanta, Georgia, and in Richmond, Virginia, and now here in Baltimore. And we were planning to go to 15 more cities. But when we unloaded the truck here in Baltimore and brought the main exhibit, we opened up the case and it was empty." I said, "Whoa. Was everything in the whole exhibit stolen?" He said, "No, not everything, just the crown jewels. The other parts of the exhibit, which contain other valuable items, but not as valuable as the crown jewels, they are still here, thank goodness. But the crown jewels, they're the crown jewels of the exhibit and the crown jewels of the whole country. They don't serve a lot of day-to-day government use or anything like that, but they're important." I said, of course. "Tell me about them. What form do they take?" I said, yes, well, they are currently in the form of a necklace. They've been on crowns and various things, but what it really is it's a large, large emerald, probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches in diameter. I can give you the exact measurements. And then 2 rubies, as big as your eyeball, and then a set of 7 diamonds. And they are currently set in a rose gold necklace. It's quite elegant. It's kind of a triangular arrangement. I said, "Wow, it sounds like a perfect thing to steal, frankly." I said, "What do you mean?" "It's hugely valuable, both as a collection piece and just from the raw materials, but relatively small. The whole thing's got to be what? 6 inches by 3 inches or so, and it probably folds up." I said, "Yes, it's a loose chain configuration, so yes, it could be folded up smaller than an American softball." I said, "Okay, yeah. Well, so it was on the truck in the display when you packed it up in Richmond?" I said, "Yes, I packed it up myself. It's one of my important duties on this trip. I packed it up myself. I loaded it into the truck, and I rode with the truck all the way up here." And I unloaded it from the truck, and when I wheeled it in here, it was gone. I do not understand what could have happened to it. We have to find it out. If my superiors even find out, it's going to be my job. But besides that, it's an embarrassment to the whole country and to what's left of the royal family there. I said, okay. Well, Mr. Mayor, what kind of resources do we have? Can we close off the route side of the city? I said, yeah, actually I've already got people in place ready to do that. You think we need to do that? I said, yeah, I really do. I said, all right, I'm making the call right now. I'll be back in 5 minutes. So the mayor went off and closed off all the routes out of the city. The highways, the train lines, even some of the walking paths. With the help of the state police, they cut it all off. That made the attaché very nervous. He said, it's going to make it hard to not have this get in the news, isn't it? I said, yeah, that's going to be hard. I said, but still, you're right. It has to be done. Maybe the end of my job, but maybe we won't lose the crown jewels. I said, yeah, but it's a big city. All right, tell me about your crew. I said, my crew? Yeah, the people who, help you move the exhibit from place to place. Oh, yes, of course. It is myself, my assistant, and then we have hired a crew that's based in New York City. They are specialized in, transporting valuable antiques and gems and things. They're a division of Brinks. I said, all right, it's unlikely to be them. They're going to be bonded and insured. They're going to be as embarrassed as you are about this. I said, yes, I know. Anybody else? So, well, we always have a local contact. In his case, the owner of the hotel is involved. But he wouldn't have been involved with the transport in Richmond. I said, yeah, I guess not. So, well, we need to search the hotel. It's small objects, but you have to think. And in the truck. What, is it just a panel truck? I said, yes, it's a panel truck. We rented it. It's nondescript. And yes, it's still parked in the garage at a loading dock. I said, all right, I'll start there. We need to make sure nobody leaves or comes into this hotel, and including the parking lot, until it's all sorted. Chief of Police said, yeah, we've got that already taken care of. Other than you, nobody's gotten in and nobody's gotten out. We're sure. I said, all right, that's good. So I went straight to the truck, and he checked it out. It's a very well-organized truck. Everything was in its place. It was basically a U-Haul. Nothing special about the truck, really. Ollie opened up all the compartments, the glove compartment, behind the seat, even inside the engine. Didn't find anything out of place. So then he went to look at the exhibit. The exhibit was about half set up. They had some of the stuff, some of the other items in place, and a lot of the literature was out. And then there in the center was this big pedestal. And there was a cover for the pedestal, and that was set off to the side. Sort of disheveled, tossed off to one side, in fact. Ollie guessed that as soon as the guy saw the jewels were missing, he dropped the cover. Started looking. So Ollie checked around the whole room. So one of the first things I always check, Ollie said, is the heating registers. It can be a quick way to hide something small like that. So he opened up every one of the air conditioning registers in the room, of which there were several, 14 in fact, and looked inside. I didn't see anything. Didn't even see anything recent. It was pretty dusty. And yeah, there were some old pennies, a couple of Legos, but nothing like that. But all I noticed is they sloped pretty quickly, so he decided to slide down himself. He got down in there and he crawled down, and all those ducts met under the floor about 15 feet down, and a spot where the air conditioner got flat. So I was optimistic that maybe it got dropped in there. Somebody hoping to come into the basement later. But he found no hole, and he found no necklace, so he climbed back up. I said, all right. I went to the hotel manager. I said, I need access to a really fast and private computer, and I need access to the rooms of all the people here who are here for the... I need a list of people who are here for the exhibit, and I need access to their rooms, starting with the Dutch. But you can't tell them any of that. The hotel manager said, okay, sure. The chief of police told me to give you anything you wanted, so there you go. You want to start with the computer? He said, I do, yes. He started looking on the computer and researching all he could about this exhibit. He didn't have a lot of time, but he wanted to know what he was looking at. And he started looking up all about the people involved too. The attaché, his assistant, even the owner of the hotel. And that had some interesting information that made Ollie start to think. So first, he searched around in the office. The clerk had let him into the owner's office, which is convenient. So he took the opportunity to search around in there and look for secret passages. Maybe the owner wanted to steal the gems. But even though he did find a secret book, there was just a revolver in there. No gems. Other than that, it's pretty normal office stuff. Pens, notebooks, accounting, paperwork, that kind of a thing. Nothing interesting, nothing useful. So Ollie took the key cards that he'd been given, and he matched them up with the people. There were 3 people from the U.S. Embassy staying there as part of the exhibit. So I started with their rooms. One of them was in their room, so that was kind of embarrassing. But Ollie just explained why he was here and said he had to search the place. And the guy said, yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. You go right ahead. I'm just going to sit here. So I searched the place. Didn't find anything. The second person wasn't there. So he searched the place. Similarly, didn't find anything useful. The third U.S. Embassy person was the same. So then he went to the assistant, to their room. In there, it was a little bit different. He'd really moved a lot of furniture around, which was weird. And there was a lot of alcohol. So he was worried that this guy might have a problem that he needed to deal with. Maybe by, scoring some money. So he searched around and he searched around and he found some receipts. But in the end, there was receipts for the wine and for the beer and for a lot of fast food and cookies. But nothing that would have given a hint that he had taken and stolen a necklace. So then Ollie made his last stop, and that was at the culture attaché's room himself. Luckily, the attaché wasn't there because Ollie turned the place upside down. He was careful to then put everything back. But he searched and searched and searched. He didn't find anything. But he also didn't find a briefcase or even a suit bag. So he knew there had to be something somewhere else. So that's when Ollie went back down to the exhibit. There he found the attaché. He noticed in the corner that there was, in fact, a large suitcase and a briefcase. I said, hey, I noticed you haven't unpacked yet. He said, oh, yes, no, I have not had time. I mean, I just happened to... The first thing I wanted to do was get the jewels out here and in place, because then security people could take over. And I'm very tired. So, yeah, no, I haven't even been up in my room yet. And that struck Ollie as odd, because even though the suitcase wasn't up there, some other stuff was. There were some clothes. There had been some clothes in the room that were out. And he had seen that the glass, in the bathroom that you rinse your mouthwash with or whatever. But of course, Ollie didn't tell any of those things that were going on in his head. But he knew that the attaché was lying. I said, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it must have been a very stressful day for you. I'm just going to search your bags real quick. And then I'll start working my contacts in the pawn shop world here in Baltimore. The attaché suddenly got very nervous. He said, my bags? Why would you search my bags? I said, well, just got to check everybody that's been close to it. I said, what do you mean? I said, oh, yeah, I mean, I've already searched everyone's rooms. And then the attaché got very nervous. Said, this is a terrible invasion of privacy. You can't be searching in my room, in my assistant's room, and who told you could do that? Now, the chief of police had seen people act suspicious before, so he stepped in and said, I told him he could do that. And now he's going to search your bag. And the attaché said, this is an outrage. You're treating me like a suspect. I'm the one reporting the crime. And I said, all the same, I'm going to go ahead and do that. He said, you will not. You are fired from the case. This is outrageous. No one would ever do this to me. This is unreal. The chief of police said, actually, you don't have the authority to fire him. I'm the one who's hired him. Ollie, please go ahead. I'll make sure he doesn't cause any trouble. And the attaché continued to complain. Well, Ollie went over and started looking through the bag. He started with the briefcase. There were a whole mess of papers, and Ollie didn't feel like going through them right then. Although he was beginning to suspect they might become useful later. He checked and made sure that there weren't, sometimes a briefcase can have a false bottom. But this one didn't. So he closed that back up and he went into the suitcase. It wasn't a large suitcase. It was maybe, I don't know, like a carry-on bag sized. And he opened it up. He set some things out, very careful, making sure not to mess anything up. Set everything out one by one. And it was just clothes and, a razor, some soap, some toothbrush, some toothpaste and a toothbrush. And the attaché said, see, nothing at all. Very rude of you to suspect me. I said, yeah, no, hold on a second, though. Ollie looked carefully. And there's another zipper on the inside, on the lining. I said, yeah, sometimes you can take these linings out in case, they get dirty, the shampoo explodes and stuff, or something in there. I said, no, I mean, this is an outrage. I said, yeah, I keep saying that. But nonetheless, here we are. Now they unzipped the liner. And there in the bottom, between the two rails that form part of the structure of the bag, was a brown paper package taped to the rails. Ollie pulled it out, took off the tape, reached inside, and pulled out the most elegant, glittering, fancy-looking crown jewels of the Netherlands that you've ever seen. And they were beautiful. With the big emerald in the center, 2 rubies, 7 diamonds, and a rose gold setting. Right away, the chief of police clapped handcuffs on him. Said, I don't know why you'd steal your own jewels, pal, but I suspect you're going to be in a lot of trouble for this. I said, this is not what it looks like. It's not at all what it looks like. There's a whole thing going on. Oh, you stupid Americans. Well, you can save it for the judge, pal. And the chief of police handed him over into custody of the, the local police. Although he was sure he's going to be handed over to the CIA. Or some other person. I don't know. And the mayor said, how'd you know? What made you think he was a suspect? I said, well, I looked on the internet about him. He's a fully credentialed historian who knew all about the history. But I had looked, and he'd written paper after paper after paper about how the wealth of the royals in the Netherlands and in most European countries was stolen from the people. And they should have it all taken away from them and given back to the people. The cultural attaché was an anti-royalist who had been entrusted to take care of a royalist exhibit. And the mayor said, wow, yeah, you never do know some people. I said, well, now we know this one. And that was the case of Ollie and the missing crown jewels.